Welcome to the December 1st, 2025 Advance Report for McGowanGroup clients and networthradio.com listeners. Thank you for joining us. We're going to start with the price of your house in North Texas, and I'm going to cover a little bit about Austin, but I got the Dallas graphs right here. So Case-Shiller Home Price Index, thought to be the most accurate because they include everything. Well, North Texas is basically the Dallas metropolitan area. So that's encompasses about 8 million people now, thanks to Dallas' amazing growth. But this surprised me. The price of your home in North Texas is likely down for 2025. This is January 31st, index at 300. The index is now 293. Well, that's a 2.4% decline this year. And we got all these people moving in. Part of the hypothesis there, or thesis, would be, hey, we've got abundant supply and our regulatory environment is friendly here in Texas. But that doesn't tell all the story about what's happened to the price of your home in North Texas. Now we go to the 5-year. Look at this. This was amazing because you go from 2020 to the middle of 2022, a 50% increase in the price of homes. I didn't know this, but it's largely been flatlined since then. Well, that number is about 3% below this peak, which we almost reached right there. This is a near 10% decline as things slowed down during the hike in interest rates. Interest rates starting to come back down, that could resume. The amazing thing about Austin, because there's a graph on Austin too, they had a 100% increase from 2019 through 2022. It was a 3-year, 100% increase in the price of homes in Austin. Since then, they're down 20% from that peak. So Austin is a crazy town and it's a little more volatile. All right, let's talk about what's happening. AI mania, and then we're going to get to some asset classes that we like for the portfolios for 2026. By the way, I'm Spencer McGowan, your financial weatherman, president, McGowanGroup Wealth Management. We serve affluent families right here from the Crescent in Dallas. You can contact us at networthradio.com, and we'll be happy to do a Zoom call, or you can come down for the tour. Whoa, what's this? Google woke up. It was probably the sleepiest of the AI candidates, even though they had the browser expertise and they were the original browser, right? So when are they going to wake up? Well, Gemini AI was praised by the Salesforce CEO this week. Scott Benohoff said, he used expletives, so I'm not going to repeat. I'll just paraphrase. He said, this is a giant leap in terms of usability for AI. That's the Gemini. You can click the Gemini button on the browser if you hadn't already done it. Well, and in addition to that, they've got a chipset coming out, a processor unit that is actually well regarded for the industry. So they've woken up and it's still a reasonable multiple. And remember, who's writing checks, who's getting checks? They get a lot of checks, and when they do write a check, it comes from free cash flow, and they still have earnings left over, unlike some of the examples we've covered, like smelly old CoreWeave. We covered their financials about a week ago. That's why you want to subscribe, because we'll give you those insights as we go, and hopefully keep you from making mistakes. Just because we talk about it here doesn't make it a recommendation for your portfolio till you actually get a plan. So correspondingly, the Dow kind of woke up. The Dow's still down about 2% from its recent peak. Now we go to the equally weighted S&P index. It's only up 8% for the year if you equally weight the S&P. Wow. In other words, just the top AI companies making up near half of the S&P now, all tech. Wow, they've left behind some incredible bargains. What do data centers use? Natural gas. What is Europe buying from the US? natural gas. How do I do it? Well, here, this is natural gas itself, up 18% for the year so far. And if you take it over the past year, there was an opportunity. It was 40% lower a year ago. Those prices are filling in. Giant sucking sound from West Texas, giant sucking sound from the Gulf of Mexico, LNG exports. At some point, you could get a shortage of natural gas. How do you play that? Because you can't really keep it in your garage. That's dangerous. Well, it has to flow through pipelines. And one of the best pipeline managers featured here that we have in the portfolio, the 5-year performance, largely because they dropped by 2/3 when the economy shut down and they bounced right back. But that is a 25% average annual return from after the shutdown. From before the shutdown, it's a more modest 11 or 12 because it went down and came back up. But pipelines, timing, dividends, reinvestment, energy infrastructure is one of the themes that we really like for 2026. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in today to Net Worth Media. We also have Apple Podcast. Simply type in Net Worth Radio and boom, it'll hit your phone right then. If you also go to networthradio.com on a browser, you're going to be able to meet the team. You could see our performance track record, the model portfolios that go with today's broadcast. Also at networthradio.com, the longer play podcast is available there as well. We're grateful that you've tuned in. Remember, when we talk about a security, it doesn't make it a recommendation for your portfolio until we actually complete a written plan for you by Zoom or in office or simply a conference call. So you reach us at networthradio.com if you want to get that arranged. Market fluctuations and how to handle them. We build high cash flow portfolios, and past performance doesn't guarantee future results, so you do have to be ready for challenging markets. We can build more cash flow during challenging markets than we can when everybody's happy and everything's up, which is when we tend to raise tactical safety. Those allocation strategies are here at networthradio.com. Thank you for tuning in.